Hey guys, this is Dave with Audio Win, and we have a few different things we're going to be talking about today. First, we need to quickly go over some housekeeping items and talk about a couple of things regarding the two different giveaways that we've got going on. And then we're also going to be taking a look at these two Ibasso IMs from their Ibasso Junior lineup, the Klee and the Gelato. So we really do have a lot to talk about. So let's get started. Okay, so real quick, I announced the two winners of the Tanshim Bunnies, both in the FIO UTWS5 video and also in a post that I made in the community section of my YouTube channel. And we still have not heard from the winners yet. And I will put the winners up on the screen again right now. And if you would, please just check the post in the community tab on my main YouTube page. And then in that post, you will find instructions on how to claim the IMs. And I don't want to pick two new winners yet, so I'll just give you a little more time for now. Secondly, we will be announcing the winner of the big Soft Ears Volume S giveaway very soon as well. And I'll also post that announcement in the community section of my YouTube channel. So again, thank you everyone who has participated in the giveaways. And I probably don't say this enough, but I honestly do really appreciate you guys. And I'm trying so hard to find time to respond to your comments, but between this channel and the Gelato channel, I'm having a very tough time trying to keep up. But just know I do read all of your comments, and you guys are always so kind and so supportive, not just to me, but to each other. And honestly, it really does mean a great deal to me. So thank you all for just being so awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Well, we'll talk about the Gelato first. So of course, this is an ultra budget set coming in around 20 bucks or so, depending on where you purchase it. As far as its presentation, it's what I would call basically a mild V shape. So it has some extra bass energy, but the bass is more mid-bass focused. So it's a little richer, a little warmer, and it does also add more kick impact as well. And even though the focus is on the mid-bass, I am still getting adequate extension as well. It also does have some extra upper mid-range energy, enough to balance out that bass. And that extra energy is focused around 5K, which is a little unusual. So it is contributing to some unnaturalness, but it does add to its engaging and dynamic qualities. It has decent upper treble energy past 10K as well, which adds further to its more fun and dynamic presentation. And it also adds some air, but it doesn't bring much in the way of detail. And again, it is a budget set, so you can't really expect much within this price range. And then when you combine that extra energy, or again, around that 5K region with the upper treble, again, it just, I don't know, there's something about it that's striking me as a little unnatural. I think what might be happening is that it could also be affecting treble naturalness as well. That said, again, these are all very common issues with V-shaped budget sets. And my impression is that this set is geared more towards offering an engaging, fun, dynamic listening experience as opposed to a natural or a neutral one. And I do feel like Ibasso absolutely achieved that. And you can see I've got a few other IMs on my desk here. I've got the Wyvern Abyss Edition, which is my current favorite ultra budget IM right now. And then my other two favorites right behind that are the Bunny, which I reviewed very recently, and the Wanner, which is a longtime favorite of mine. So these are my top three right now. So comparing the Gelato with the Abyss has more of a Harman-ish style tuning, but it does have a little more bass presence. And again, this is my absolute favorite ultra budget set. And I do like it quite a bit more than the Gelato, if I'm being honest. Its bass is just more sub bass focused. It has cleaner lower mids, and the Gelato's bass is more, again, it's more mid bass focused. So its presentation is a little warmer, which is fine, but I still prefer the bass of the Abyss. And the Abyss also has just more energy in the upper mids, so vocals are more forward, but still balanced. And it's also just a little more natural sounding to my ears. Now, as far as the Bunny, it's pretty much neck and neck with the Wanner. It's tied basically for second place. It also has a neutral warm tuning, so the bass is a little north of neutral. It has some warmth in the low mids that emphasize kick impact, and it also adds richness to male vocals. The upper mids are forward, but still pretty balanced overall. Treble is relaxed and smooth, but at the same time, it actually does lack a little energy in the treble, which does affect detail and air. But overall, it does a good job at keeping things fairly natural sounding, again, in the upper mids and treble. And I kind of feel the same way about the Wanner as I do the Bunny. Its bass levels are more in line with my tuning preference. The mids are a little cleaner sounding, and it just sounds a little more natural to me than the Gelato. And again, the Gelato has a little more of a mid-bass focus, and so the focus is on impact. And that extra energy at around 5K going to the upper mids, it does give the lower treble a little more of an engaging presentation as well. So I do feel like in terms of achieving that engaging presentation, iBasso did achieve that. And I also feel like they're probably going for more of a younger demographic with this, again, this more fun tuning approach. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the Klee. Okay, so the Klee is priced at around, I think, about 80 bucks, and the tuning approach they took with the Klee is a little different from the Gelato in that instead of a mild standard V shape, they've actually opted for a more classic V shape, similar to the Titan S2. And while it may still not be exactly to my tuning preference for this price point, it does come a little closer than a lot of other sets out there. It still doesn't quite beat out my favorites, but it is a great set for this price point. But let's talk about its sound really quickly, and then I'll do a couple of comparisons towards the end. So again, its signature is what I would consider to be more neutral in terms of its bass and upper mid-range energy, and it does, again, it reminds me a little bit of the Titan S2, so it does still fall within the category of a V shape, but it's very tasteful, and it's kind of riding that line between neutral and V shape. It's definitely closer to neutral than the Gelato, and you could actually describe this as a more neutral set, I guess, but again, to my ears, it's kind of riding that line. Now, as far as the bass, the way they approached the bass curve, it's more mid-bass focused and less sub-bass focused. So the bass emphasis is going to be geared more towards kick impact and dynamics as opposed to having a lot of sub-bass rumble. And even though you don't have as much mid-bass and low-mid energy, again, as the Gelato, it is still there. There is still some warmth and richness to its presentation, but that also does result in just a small amount of bass bleed. It's not much, but it is present to a degree. That said, for this price point, I do still feel like it brings a nice amount of mid-bass texture and low-mid clarity. But then as you move over into the top half of the tuning, I do feel like the energy in the top half, so the upper mids and treble, while being a little forward in the upper mids, doesn't necessarily throw it out of balance. I do feel like it's still balanced overall, but there is still a little more upper mid-range energy than, say, the Delcy AE, the Delcy, or the Explorer. And I do prefer their more relaxed approach. So the Delcy AE, the Delcy, and Explorer, again, they've got a little more relaxed presentation to their upper mids, and I like that a little bit more. That said, I don't know if I would necessarily categorize this as being vocal forward, because I feel like there is enough bass presence to keep the upper mids in check and in balance. And I'm also hearing really good overall mid-range detail and vocal and instrument clarity as well. And it also sounds pretty natural. Now the treble is a little more relaxed, and that treble energy does drop off somewhat after around 8K. And that's not necessarily an issue because it does sound pretty natural. And while it is maybe more relaxed. Cymbals and other higher stringed instruments are still cutting through enough as to, again, balance out some of the upper mid forwardness. As far as technical performance, I would say it's very good for this price point. Detail levels are good. Soundstage is about average width for an IEM, but imaging is above average, as is Larian separation, and it's basically on par with the Titan S2. Now, I should quickly point out that at the time of the release of the Titan S2, it was one of the best V-shaped tunes, if not the best, under $100 by a long shot. And the Klee is the first IEM to come along that actually performs at the same levels as the Titan S2. That said, I do still prefer the tuning of the Delcy AE, the original Delcy, and the Explorer over both the Klee and the Titan S2, simply because they all come closer to my tuning preference. The Delcy AE has more sub-bass presence and just more bass presence in general. Plus, it also takes a little more of a relaxed approach to the upper mids. And the same thing with the Explorer. Its mids are a little more relaxed. It has a little more sub-bass presence, and both the Delcy AE and the Explorer sound just a little more natural in my opinion. Now, one nitpick I did have with the Delcy AE is its lack of treble extension. Otherwise, I do think the Delcy AE is one of the best, again, if not the best, implementation of a dynamic driver that I've heard under $100. But even just in terms of its tuning, it's still one of the best tuned IEMs. This is with a silver nozzle, regardless of the driver type. So I know I went through that kind of fast. Hopefully that all makes sense. But regarding the Klee, in summary, I do feel like it's a very solid set. It's a very tasteful take on a classic V that also brings a pretty impressive amount of technical performance as well. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful. Reminders to my bunny winners, please check out the post in the community section of my YouTube channel for instructions on how to claim your bunny. And for everyone else, keep an eye out for the announcement of the winner of the Volume S coming very soon. By the way, we have had an overwhelming response and a ton of entries, so thank you guys so much for that. Best of luck to you all. Again, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this review. If you like my content, please take a second and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you would please comment on this video, please like this video, and please share this video. I hope you guys have an awesome day.